Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report for whatever today is, Thursday, July 25th. It's the Hammer Down Racing Report, part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Show number 340. Scott Hammer, Ron Miller coming at you live on Facebook and YouTube from the Dominator Race Products studio. Tonight on the show, we will be speaking to Sprint Car Hall of Famer. He's a Sprint Car Hall of Fame mechanic, car builder, Tommy Sanders. He's worked with Brad Doty. He's worked with
some really big people.
A lot of Sammy Swindell.
Yes.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. We're going to be giving away some Maz's Pizza with How Many, and Toledo Speedway has put up some tickets for their event tomorrow night, as a matter of fact. So,
that should be a good show, Scott. I've been talking to some people, and it sounds like it's going to be a fun night. Yeah,
so if you're interested in the CRA Jegs late models, Avors Compact Touring Series, and factory stocks tomorrow night at Toledo Speedway, do this. I think I put that in. Oh, I did not. Oh, I did, but no, I didn't.
You did.
I didn't type it all out. There you go. Hashtag Toledo Speedway. If you put that in the comments of our Facebook Live or the YouTube, you will be entered into the drawing for a pair of tickets for tomorrow night's event. You don't have to come pick them up. Your name will be at will call at Toledo Speedway.
Okay.
So
now, what you've got on the screen, there's no space between Toledo and...
Correct. It's all spelled out one word.
Okay, so...
Toledo Speedway.
So if there's a space between Toledo and Speedway...
It's probably not going to work.
It won't compute.
Correct. And hashtag DCR will not work for that. I'm sorry. There you go. John Young's got it right. It doesn't have to be capitalized, so make sure. Yeah, see, it picked that up. So we're all good there. Before we get to Mr. Tommy Sanders, who... we'll find out if he's connected. We're having some computer issues. If not, we'll get him on the phone here momentarily. Got to mention, though, that DCR Graphics, I talked to Dale today. He's got a new supply, but we don't have it yet. So we're going to hold off giving away a window sticker tonight.
Okay, because we've got a really cool...
We're giving away Toledo Speedway tickets anyway.
That's really cool, yeah.
Oakshade Raceway, where the fastest meet to race. This week, it's the Oakshade Attica Late Model Series. That's going to headline a full racing program, and you can keep up to date everything going on at Oakshade Raceway on the website, oakshaderaceway.com. Follow them on Twitter, X, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They're on all of those things, and all the information you need is there. Dominator Race Products, they have what you need to put you in the winner's circle with 30 years of experience to put you out front. Check out their newest product, the Dominator Racing Stool, which we talked about briefly last week. If you haven't seen those, check it out on their Facebook page or on DominatorRaceProducts.com. You can get it in a variety of different colors. Can you get it from Ron Miller Race Cars?
Absolutely.
All right. There you go. So you can order those direct from DominatorRaceProducts.com, or you can call 419-923-6970.
Or you can call 734-856-RACE and
get it from Ron Miller Race Cars.
That's it.
And do you sell cheaper than what their listed prices on their website?
I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed to say?
I'm not allowed to quote my online prices.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of manufacturers
aren't allowed to do that because then it kind of keeps the competition.
It's what they call MAP pricing, minimum advertised price.
I'm familiar with that from my last job.
That's right. But if we're selling over the counter to you, I am not bound by MAP pricing, and I can usually save you money, as can most of the distributors in our area. I don't want to make everybody think that we're special, but...
Also got to mention Victory Fuel, a refreshing and natural hydration alternative that replenishes electrolytes. It's packed with vitamins, providing a boost for athletes and individuals on the go. Victory Fuel is the perfect way to stay hydrated and energized throughout the race day. Being free of added coloring, caffeine, and carbonation, Victory Fuel is a great kid-friendly drink. Get
like
yours
this one
today online at drinkvictory.com. Be sure to use discount code Domination or Conley Racing, and you'll save 10%. Also help fuel their racing programs. I think Roots Poultry actually has it in their store over in Fremont. I saw Tanya posted something on there.
Well, that's exciting.
And that new flavor we're looking forward to, Purple Potion. should be coming out here in the next few weeks. And yes, the official drink of the Hammer Down Racing Report, Victory Fuel. Also going to mention DCR Graphics, Dittman Motorsports, Ron Miller Race Cars, Freeze Frame Photos, and Magic Moment Entertainment. And now let's see. We're going to see if Tom's here. Right now it's very dark where Tommy's at. Tommy, can you hear us at all? It's not sounding like it. All right, we are going to raise him on the phone then instead. He was having some power outages down where he's at, so that could be some of the issues there. Also, we're going to have breaking, not really breaking news, but update on the Showdown series we talk about quite a bit. So updates on that.
Ooh.
A lot of other stuff, too. So let's bring up Mr. Sanders. He's down there in Tennessee.
Hello.
Tommy, it's Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. How about you?
Well, other than a power outage a couple times a day, I guess we're doing okay.
So you're not in the dark right now?
So I'm not sure. Can you see me at all on my screen here?
No, we couldn't. It was just a black screen, unfortunately. So we'll just talk to you over the phone here if that's okay.
That's fine. We can do that.
All right. I appreciate you trying to join us so everybody can see you, but this way will work too.
All right.
Here, let me do that. So we're speaking with Tommy Sanders. You were just inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame last year, and you've had quite a career. You actually retired from racing, back in 2001, I believe it was?
Actually, 2001, and then I went to work for a working group for almost 20 years. And then I retired from it after John Deere bought them out. And it's been it was a whirlwind.
Tommy, real serious question. Do you ever really retire from racing? I still go to some races. And matter of fact, I went and worked on a car for a friend of mine here about 2 months ago. You probably know the driver, Luke Hall. Okay.
The owner he was a former band director at the University of Tennessee named Don Ryder.
Yeah, we actually spoke to him.
Yeah.
We had him and what's his face?
Kenny.
Jerry Punch.
Oh,
No, Dr. Jerry Punch on at the same time a few years ago.
Well, anyway, he had been bugging me for a couple of years to come help him on his race car. So I said, okay. So we went over to I-75 Speedway in Sweetwater, Tennessee. And I guess I met Luke about an hour before the race. And anyway, they unloaded the car, and I took a look at it. I changed some stuff on it, and went out and hot lap, and it was decent. When I came back in, I changed it again. Now, this place is super dry slick. And, there's a bunch of good cars there. Max Stanball and Gressman and Danny Smith. There's some good guys. Anyway, went out to time, second to last, and had fast time by about 0.2 of a second.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So that elevated you to hero status again.
Well, I think it made Luke pretty happy because I don't think he ever had fast time in a sprint car before. And anyway, we ran a heat race and ran, I don't know, third or fourth in the heat race. And then in the feature, started fourth, but the motor was stumbling so bad. It wouldn't take off in the start. So they would yard us on the start, couple cars, and he'd get them back. And actually, at one time, I thought, gosh, we have a chance to win this thing.
Let's
So whatever, we wound up running third, but it was fun, I mean, I'll be real honest with you, race cars haven't changed that much since I worked on them.
Speaking of which, let's go back to when you got started. You started with Ken Appler's team. how old were you, and how did that come about?
I was 8 years old, and believe it or not, just hanging around the garage, and one day we were out playing, and they towed the race car up the street because they were moving into a garage about a block from my house. So, I ran after the race car for a couple blocks following it, and when it got to my house, got to the garage here, I started hanging around and, just doing whatever I could to get in their way or whatever. And there was like a bar and stuff down the street. I'd run and get them sandwiches or drinks or whatever. And that's how it really got started.
So you're like a gopher. You were a gopher when you got started.
I was definitely a gopher.
8 years old, Tommy. What year was that?
That was in 1958.
Wow.
So, I started, just sweeping the floors and hanging around. And the guy that owned the car, he took a liking to me, and he would come out of his way to pick me up and take me to the races. And if I didn't have a way home, a lot of times I would hitchhike home at about 2:00 in the morning by myself.
When you were 8 years old?
Yep.
Holy cow!
Tommy, a lot of our guests know. When I was 6 years old, my dad had a push truck at Toledo Raceway Park, and he would drop me off at the front gate, go into the pits, and when the races were over, he'd meet me at the front gate, and we'd head home. So, yeah, I can relate to your experiences.
It was one of them deals where, you just, I wanted to beat the races. It didn't matter, what it took to get there. I wanted to be there. And, if I had to walk home, I would walk home.
So is that when you were 8 years old? Is that how you started learning about sprint cars and the mechanics and everything, or where'd you pick all that up at?
Well, this guy Willie Musselman, he was my cousin, and he drove one of Amper's cars too. They had two cars. One of them was number 76, and the other one was 77. And Gene Goodling drove the 77 car. And I just got to, hanging around, and I would watch the guys work on them. And, they'd let me change the spark plugs. They'd let me change the gears. And, at the racetrack, back then we didn't have trailers. So I would take the axles out after the races. And, that's how we towed the cars. Pull the rear axles out, put some caps on it, and hang down the road. There's a lot of times I rode in a race car, home.
Somebody told me that used to use like a station wagon and tow the race car and put the sprint wing on top of the station wagon. Is that true?
No, I don't know. We always had pickup trucks and stuff. Now, Bobby Allen had a Chevrolet. It was almost like a pickup truck, but it was a car.
Suburban?
I can't even think of, no, it wasn't a Suburban.
Like an El Camino?
El Camino.
Boy.
Nice.
Yep. We towed with that for, a couple of years. And then, we towed whatever we could in the back of that El Camino and go to the races.
So how did you end up then with Bobby Allen, and what made that arrangement so successful?
Well, this year was on a Friday afternoon, and I was actually waiting for somebody who was going to pick me up and take me to the races at Williams Grove. And this was about 4:00 in the afternoon, and I walked down the street because I could see, Bobby's shop from there. So I walked down there. And he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm getting ready to go to races." He says, "Can you give me a hand?" I said, "Doing what?" He says, "I need to change the motor." Now, this is 4:00 on a Friday afternoon. And so we changed the motor out, and he says, "Why don't you go to the races to help me?" I said, "All right." and that's how it got started. And went to the races with him, and that was in 1968. And then he was driving a number 456 that he had bought from Charlie Hill. And anyway, long after that, he's got a sponsorship from Emmerich Chevrolet. And Bobby and I built his first sprint car in the winter of 68, beginning of 69.
That's about when you started work with them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And, well, I actually started working for him like in the summer of 68.
Okay.
And, but anyway, we built that car in the winter of 68, beginning of 69. And we wound up winning 33 features with that car.
Wow.
In fact, I think we won 17 features at Lincoln Speedway.
So what made you two so successful? Did you guys just have chemistry? Or was it that you had that much knowledge at that point early in your career?
I tell everybody what I've learned. Most of it was from Bobby Allen. And, that guy's probably one of the smartest race car guys ever. And, he was way ahead of his time. And, I don't know what else to say except he's got to be one of the smartest race car minds ever. And, we were the first guys to ever have aluminum radius rods, aluminum bumpers, kick rails. Our cars were like probably 350 pounds lighter than everybody else's cars the sprint cars at the time. And, when we won a lot of races because of the lightweight cars.
So
I know when I moved to Memphis to work for Sammy Swindell, Bobby Davis had a J&J car. And I asked Bobby if I could build a car for him because that J&J was so heavy. This thing, even after we cut a whole bunch of stuff off of it, it was still heavy. So anyway, we built a car that winter, and the next year we wound up winning 27 races out of 53 with that thing.
Wow. So speaking of Sammy Swindell, have you had any of the Victory Fuel, his new drink that he came out with?
No, I haven't. I'll be real honest with you. I don't think I've ever had a, Red Bull or any of those drinks like it. I just, just never had one.
Gotcha. All right. So with Sammy, in 1977, you won 14 of 16 races. How much of that credit do you take for those wins?
Probably a lot of it because of the hard work and effort that I put in. See, Sammy was he was actually going to college too there in Memphis, and that's where he was taking mechanical engineering classes. And as far as the credit, hey, we just clicked. We worked together and we worked good, and we had fun doing it.
Okay.
So if you went racing today, how do you think you would do? Have the cars changed enough that you'd have to catch up?
I'd say the only thing that I would have to catch up on is probably the shocks. That's probably the biggest thing. The rest of it's all mechanical. You got better engines. You've got the tires are better and stuff like that. But
some of the drivers would probably argue against the tires being better, but
yeah,
you're probably right about that.
But it sounds like just from what you've been saying that some of the biggest things you can do is take the weight out of the car.
Back then it was when I raced, I mean, to have a lightweight car compared to everybody else, that was a big advantage, believe me. And, but now everybody has the same race cars, the same motors, same tires, everything. And, to be real honest with you, as far as the working of the car, it ain't no different from when I worked on them back in the 80s, I mean, you do the same thing.
Tommy, have you ever run any laps in the cars that you've worked on or built?
Yes, I have. Actually, I ran a modified at Reading, and that was back in 1972. And I was, we had got rained out at Williams Grove, so we went to the races at Reading, and there was a guy that had a modified there, and was just sitting there. And I said, hey, who's driving this car? He says, nobody. He says, you want to drive it? I said, yeah. I said, I'll come back Sunday night and drive this thing. So I went back and hopped in it, went out and hot lap, and it had no brakes whatsoever. I mean, it had Buick brakes on it. I went down in the corner. Oh. So anyway, they could never get brakes on it that night, so finally they got brakes on it the next week. And I started 14th in a heat race.
That's a lot of cars for a heat race.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, they used to get 100 cars a night at Reading.
Right.
Anyway, I started 14th in the heat race, got up to 4th, and that was probably about the 4th or 5th lap. And the guy that was leading it got sideways. Well, the guys in front of him slowed down, so I said, well, I'm just going to go around the top of them. That guy that was leading it slid right up and into me. I hit the wall, and it had the front of the right front wheel back by the firewall.
Oh,
it hit something.
Wow.
Because that's a concrete wall there at Reading. So anyway, I get out of that thing, and there was another guy that was about 2 pit stalls down. Guy come up to me. He says, "Hey," he says, "why don't you run this thing in the Conti?" He said, "Oh, I'm a driver here." I said, "Okay." So I started 17th in Wisconsin and ran 4th, made the feature. So the guy says, well, what do you want to do with this thing? I said, the only thing I can tell you is put more gear in it. So we put a little bit lower gear in it, ran about 3 or 4 laps and blew the side out of the block.
But it was fun while it lasted.
So that was my modified ending. Because I was, it was either you either wanted to be a race car driver, and back then I had the money to own my own cars or whatever. But I did race a couple times out in the Midwest. I drove for a guy by the name of Fred. Oh man, my mind's gone blank again. Frank Porter. And I ran his car like twice, and it had motor trouble every night. So I said, I'm not going to mess with that. So actually, the last time I drove a car was in 1975. Opperman was driving the car, and he ran somewhere in the Midwest, and he was flying back to Lincoln, Nebraska to run the car that night. Well, something happened where he couldn't make it back. So Fred Aiden, he owned the car at the time. He says, I guess we'll just load up and go home. I said, no. So let me run this thing. He says, okay. So Wolfgang and I started side by side in a heat race. I started 7th. He started 8th. I ran 2nd in the heat race, and he ran 5th or 6th.
Wow.
What did Wolfie think of that?
He come down and he says, "You asked me." He said, "I didn't know you drive one of these things." I said, "Well, I said, I didn't know I could either, but I said, evidently it was pretty good."
So that was the last time you drove competitively in a race car then?
Yep. I was supposed to start on the pole of the trophy dash that night, and went to line up for the trophy dash and rained it out.
Oh.
That's actually that's the last time. But I actually hot lapped a car at Devil's Bowl one night. Ricky Hill was driving a car, and that's when he was driving for Bobby Davis after Sammy left.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at Devil's Bowl. It was like a 2 or 3 day show, and Ricky was, it was an on-weight show, and Ricky was having a hard time. I mean, he just couldn't go nowhere. And I kept on asking him, he couldn't tell me what was wrong with the race car. So finally, after the feature, I think it was on a Friday night, I said, I'm just going to go out here and I'm going to see what the heck's wrong with this thing. So I hopped in that thing, hauled it down to the corner, biked that thing up, about turned it over, and all I did was, I gassed it back up, went down to the next corner, did the same thing. So I pulled in, and Wolfgang came down and he said, you are one crazy son of a bitch. He says, that thing should have turned over 3 or 4 times. He said, you just gassed it up.
Oh, did you figure out how to fix it, make it run better?
I found out what was wrong. What happened was the right front shock came up, and it wouldn't go back down. Or no, excuse me, it went down, but it wouldn't come back up. Right. So when it went down in the corner, it got on the right front corner, and just wanted to turn over. And anyway, that was wrong with it. So anyway, we go to the hotel that night, and little Bobby called his dad, and he wound up firing Ricky.
Wow.
So I don't know. That was
so I mean, you have so many stories here. You were with Doug Wolfgang and finished second in the first ever World of Outlaws race. Did you you foresee that series continuing on and being as strong as it is today?
At the time, everything looked good on paper. And it looked like it was going to be really good. And, we built that car that winter. Well, actually, we built 7 cars. And because we were going to start selling them as Winners Incorporated. And, we went to Dallas and won one of the preliminary nights. And then on the main event night, we passed Kinzer. And Kinzer run into us and knocked the Jacob ladder off of it. So we ran the whole race. He knocked the W link off of it.
Wow.
And so we ran basically the whole race without the W link.
What held the rear end in the car?
That thing was a handful.
Bind up against the bars?
Yep. And still won second. And it was right on Jimmy Boyd's butt, even the way it was.
Wow.
But
you've also
anyway, we ran that car up until I left that team, and we won 18 out of 33 races, and had some motor problems at the beginning. Finally, we got them sorted out, and we were fast everywhere we went. We went out to Skagit and won both nights out there. And
do you have like a specialty as far as working on the car? I mean, do you work on the motors, or is it primarily the chassis and the setup and everything there?
Back then we had to do everything.
Okay.
We had to do, the motors, the chassis. If we wanted something, it wasn't like, driving over to Gears or calling Gears and, hey, send me this or send me that. We had to basically make everything. If we bent a radius rod, we had to make our own. And, if you bent the rear bumper, you had to make another one. We made all that stuff. And people don't realize the amount of hours that I used to work. I'll be real honest, there was some including the races, I probably worked 90 hours a week.
Do you have a regular job on top of this?
No, that was just pure race cars.
Wow.
Tommy, you said early on that you had you were one of the first teams to use aluminum radius rods and tie rods.
Yep.
Obviously, you can't go to the store and buy those. How did you come up with that?
We actually there was an aircraft place over in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, and we went in there and because that's where we bought the Chrome Molly.
Sure.
And anyway, this guy had this aluminum there, and Bobby thought, we could probably use this stuff as radius rods. So he bought a couple lengths of it. We made the radius rods, and pretty soon we're making lightweight bumpers and Nerf bars and front bumpers and whatever we could out of aluminum.
And all those things were painted black, I'll bet.
No, they were still aluminum.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were trying to hide what you were doing.
No, the only thing I would ever do as far as hiding stuff, and I would jacklet people. Like at Williams Grove, guys would come up and they'd walk up and they put their leg up against the torsion bar, and I watched them because they would run back over. They would measure down to the ground to see what the ride height was on our cars. And then what I would do is people want to know if you run right rear weight or left rear weight. What I would do is I'd put a floor jack up under the left-hand side of the rear end and jack it up. So it looked like I had a ton of right rear end.
So did people actually go and try and make an adjustment based off of what they thought you had?
I'll tell you what, I would cover the torsion, the numbers up in the torsion bars, the shocks. They would come over there and pull the tape off the shocks. I would put silicone on the tires just to mess with them. It would drive them crazy.
That's funny. So when you're running races like that, you got to have a little fun too. Well, how many with all that success, did it come with a lot of naysayers saying, "Hey, he's cheating"? Claims like that you had to fight off.
The only time that was in 1972. Williams Grove, actually called it Cars, Keystone Auto Racing Series. They had a 312 cubic inch limit. So what we did, we had a 327, but it was a D-stroke 327. We had aluminum rods in it, which was way lighter than anybody even thought about back then. Now, this was back in 1972.
Right. So, we couldn't be beat. We won everywhere we went. It was just, and the bad part about it is Jack Goins' brother, Trim Gunnels, they had a big motor in their car, and we were still beating them. And they were pissed. They said we had illegal fuel. They made us take a fuel tank out. They came down to the shop. We took the fuel tank out, and they wanted to know what this plate part of. I said, "Look, when the fuel dries up, it turned white." Oh, they said we had an illegal motor, and we were running polypropylene, and whatever they could come up with, they were, and we still outrun them. And that's when we were, just like I said, we were 350 pounds lighter than they were, and they weren't smart enough to figure it out.
So they didn't realize that you had such a weight advantage then?
Nope. But I knew how many laps we could put under those aluminum rods, and we were running about 450 laps, take them out, put a new set of rods in it, and we were good to go.
I tried an aluminum rod motor one time, and I brushed the backstretch wall, and 2 laps later it let go, and that was my only experience with an aluminum rod motor.
So don't hit the wall.
Oh,
that's the moral of that story.
I just brushed it.
Yeah.
So
but that was some fun times. It was because we were making our own cars, we were making our own parts. that to me was, I guess, a lot of confidence plus a lot of pride. Anytime you can do that, it's worth it.
So what part of sprint car racing did you enjoy most? What was it about the sport you enjoyed the most?
Just the competition. You just want to be better than somebody else. I mean, when we were kids riding bicycles, we had some heck of races on bicycles. Because we wanted to win.
Yes, sir.
We'd make our own racetracks, and we raced around a tennis court one time, and this kid he kept on cutting me off going down, into the corners because I was trying to pass him. So going down the straightaway, there was a garbage can there on this tennis court. I ran him into this garbage can. He went in there head first.
Nice. So
that's how bad it was. Just you want to win.
So, is there any one race win, one race or win that sticks out in your mind over your long career that sticks out as maybe being most memorable for some reason?
Probably the race. One of the last victory lanes that I was in was with Jim Linder. That was in like 2000 or 2001. Anyway, Jim was having a hard time. He was running in the back of the A's, just barely making it, running the B's. So Shirley Keir called me up and she says, "Hey, will you come up here and help him?" So I drove up there on a Friday afternoon, went out to his shop, worked on his car, and one of the torsion bars in the back was just, it was downed up solid. So I fixed a couple other little things on the car that I thought needed to be, addressed, and went over to Fremont the next day and won the feature.
That's pretty.
That memorable. To me was rewarding. To take somebody that wasn't winning and take a guy that, let's face it, he was in the latter part of his years, and as far as racing, and to go out there and win a feature like that, beat those young guys, that was fun.
Ron can relate. He likes to beat the young guys, right, Ron?
Yeah. Tommy, Dean Henry wants to know if you remember the aluminum frame Nance car.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, Shane Carson is rebuilding that thing, and I'd say he's probably got 3/4 of the way finished as far as, I think he was putting motor and stuff together for it. And, I got to looking at that thing when we were at his house there about 2 years ago. I told him, I said, "Shane, you just don't know how lucky you are that you never crashed this thing." I tell you, because it would have killed. I said, "It killed you. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts."
Would have crunched up like a soda can?
No, it just would have broke apart. It was, that thing was brittle. They had to, like the rear tubes fell off of it in Manzanita when Fred Linder was driving it, and they actually had to bolt them back on. They welded and bolted them back on. It was, I'm telling you, if Peter crashed, I think it'd have killed him.
I remember back in the mid 50s, Raleigh Beal's brother Al had an aluminum frame car, and frightening.
Yeah, that was when I got to looking at the welds and stuff on it. Oh my God!
So have you? Go ahead.
Well, I told my wife, I said, I think if I hit that thing with a sledgehammer, it probably would have broke.
So have you ever worked on anything other than sprint cars? I know you said you'd driven the mod, but as far as working on cars, just sprint cars?
No, I worked on the Indy car. Bobby Allen had the Indy car, and that he bought from Grant King. And we went out to Phoenix with it, and it blew up. And what happened was, we didn't know this till we got home. The guy from Grant King's place made a new dress-up tank for it, and he welded the flaps in the dress-up tank in backwards. So it just started the motor.
Right.
When I took the thing apart, when we got home, took it all apart, was going to clean everything up. I got to looking, I said, in the world? So I told Bobby, I said, Bob, come here and check this out. He says, oh my gosh.
But it only starved the motor in the corners.
On his Indy cars, the way that thing was built, I mean, it was, I we didn't make very many laps on it before it blew up. I mean, I forget how many laps we even ran, but it blew up right away. Well, anyway, the last time I worked on an Indy car was with Roger Brager, and that was in '79. And that was the first time Rick Mears won the 500. And Brager had this Eagle, and he called me up and said, hey, I need some help. Come help me with this thing. So when I got there, that thing come off the corner, and it was on dead push. I said, well, if it's pushing, it's got too much left rear in it. So I changed the spring setting on it, put a little bit of right rear in it. And be real honest with you, we were actually fast enough to make the race. And on Saturday morning before qualifying, we went out to hot lap. And the guy that was taking care of the motor from Lincoln, Nebraska, he got to clean the injector nozzles and burn a piston.
Oh.
So that was the end of that deal. And then he wanted me to come back the next year, but I think I was working for Sammy at the time, and not Sammy. Actually, I was working for Bobby Davis at the time, Junior, and may have been getting ready to work for Sammy. I can't remember, but anyway, I couldn't go, so they got John Stenger to come out there and help them, and they ran pretty good. I mean, I think they ran like 11th or something. But yeah, I mean, that's the only time I worked on an Indy car.
So it sounds like you would have been even more successful if it wasn't for some engine issues in different cars.
I'd have to say engine issues was a lot of problems. Like, when I worked for Bobby Allen, I mean, we would go to the Chevrolet garage, get a short block, take an air hose, blow the dust off of it, put it together, we'd put a cam of stuff in it, and that's what we ran. We didn't have high dollar motors. I mean, we were the cheapest way. I mean, even when we won all those races in '69, we had a crate motor. And the other thing we did was change a camshaft in it. Nice. And then, with Sammy, we had a guy put a motor together for Sammy, well, actually for Bobby Davis, and his name was Coke Bottles.
Coke Bottles? Glasses?
Coke, yeah. Anyway, he forgot to clean the oil pan.
Oh.
Believe it or not, brand new motor. So we pushed this thing off and started up. All of a sudden, we lost oil pressure. The heck, we break an oil pump or what? So I pulled the pan off of it, and this thing was full of trash. He used to say, I wasn't a happy camper. So anyway, Sammy and I, we said, okay, we've had enough. So we built our own engine, and that's when we won all the races with it.
Gotcha. So last year you were officially inducted into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you?
It meant a lot because of just the way I grew up. I grew up a little poor kid from didn't have nothing, and to be able to have your name put up on a plaque and put in the Sprinkler Hall of Fame. That was very, it was rewarding.
Almost made it worthwhile, didn't it?
That was, all the hard work that I worked on those cars, and it all paid off.
Yep.
So
racing's a tough life. I mean, it's, you, especially back when we were doing it, because we didn't have the luxury that these guys have now. And not to say, I'm not jealous of them. In fact, I'm happy for them. I wish I would have had the same stuff. But to me, back then, because we made our own parts, we made our own trailers. I mean, we did everything, And when you won a race, it was because of the hard work and effort that you put into it.
So who would you say is the best driver ever? I mean, including drivers that are active today and drivers you've worked with or seen throughout your career. Who is the best driver that you've ever seen?
Steve Kinzer.
Steve Kinzer, okay.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean,
not even close?
There's nobody even close.
Okay. Could Tim Richmond have challenged him?
No way. Nope.
He would beat Kyle Larson too?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
Yeah, but hey, it's a different era.
Yeah.
From what I saw from Steve, I mean, one night I saw him at Millstream. They knocked a piece of the frame out. Now the rear tubes were just hanging on, and he came from the back of the pack and got up to second. And I'm telling you, it was probably one of the greatest drives I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, there was about a 6-inch piece of the bottom rail that was gone from a crash. And to watch him come through the field like that was just amazing.
I had a Steve Kinzer story. I forget, it was either 95 or 96 on the mile track at Syracuse. And he had set new track record. They had him on a jugs gun, long end of the straightaway, 177 miles an hour. And I had never seen Steve Kinzer so rattled. He was hunkered down in the seat, death grip on the steering wheel, but he really got it done.
Yeah. He's amazing. I mean, you can say what they want. I mean, different time, different era, but for his time, I still say he's the best sprint car driver I have ever seen.
Nice. Well, Tommy, it's definitely been a pleasure talking to you. We appreciate the time. I just have one last question for you before we let you go, and we've kind of talked about it, but I wish there was a simple answer. What is the secret to making a sprint car fast? I mean, the weight has been an issue. You talked about shocks,
but they've got a weight limit now. So
yeah. So what? I guess with today's cars, what
makes them fast?
How do you make a sprint car faster than everybody else's?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the communication between the driver and the mechanic. I mean, the mechanic has to have confidence in the driver, and the driver has to have confidence in that mechanic. And where they're not arguing with each other, they're agreeing with each other. And, when you get a combination like that, one believes in the other, I think that's the key. I really do. I mean, because hey, let's face it. Right now, everybody's got the same stuff. Mm-hmm. But you look at a kid like the Jacobs kid who works for Gravel. He's been around. His dad, and he's worked with cars there around Attica and Fremont, and. He's to me, he looks like he's even tempered. And so where him and Gravel, but they communicate, and I think they get along because of that.
Yeah, and the success is showing on the track.
Oh yeah, I mean, Carl and Steve were the same way. Steve truly believed whatever Carl said, but and that's the same way when I was working with Keith Kaufman. Keith had enough confidence in me to when I said, "Hey, let's do this," or "We need to do this," he had enough confidence. Okay, let's try this, and we won a lot of races together. And the same way with Sammy and Wolfie, and it didn't matter who I worked for. That was the key. It was the mechanic and the driver and getting along and communicating.
Communication is key. So basically, it's you interpreting what the driver's saying and knowing what to do to the car to address that, whatever the car is doing that needs to be changed.
Yep. One of the things that I always looked at was I always looked at the shocks, how much movement the shocks were moving.
Sure.
And I could tell what that race car was doing just by looking at the shocks. And, if it was getting down on the left rear too hard, I knew what to do. If it was getting on the left front too, same, it didn't matter. You knew what to do just by looking at the shocks. And that was probably one of the bigger successes I had. Plus, you had to know what shocks and stuff to put on that were correct.
So if anybody called you from a local short track and said, "Hey, can you come out and help me with my car, be it a stock car or a late model, anything," what would you say to them?
Well, to be real honest with you, I worked on a mini sprint. And CK Spurlock, when I was a gambler, a friend of his, their son had a mini sprint. Mm-hmm. And, he was really struggling with it. So he brought it down to Gambler, unloaded it, and I worked on it. And so I went to the races with them at a little racetrack up in Benton, Kentucky. And we ran second the first night. The next week, we knocked 3/4 of a second off the track record.
Wow.
And he lapped up to second place.
Wow.
And did you make big changes to it, or was it just little changes?
It was little changes. I changed, those things have the engine sitting on the left side of the car.
Yeah.
What? And they had softer bars on the left side of the car, and they did in the right. I thought, you can't do that. You got too much weight hanging over here. And that's all I did is I put heavier bars in the left side of the car, took a tilt out of it. That thing was a rocket.
I'm going to have to see if you can come help me with my stock car then.
Yeah. No torsion bars, Scott.
No, it's a little bit different. But
Hey, I want to tell you something. I worked on a late model before. They ain't no different. Yeah. Race car is a race car.
Yeah, I know.
Well, even late models have changed so much from 70s to now. Yeah. But, sprint cars, at least they look the same.
You got to be a mechanical engineer. Just look at one of those stock cars now.
Yeah.
Pretty much. A lot of math. But Tommy Sanders, we got to move on here. We appreciate the time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we could probably talk for hours here. You got all kinds of stories.
God blessed me with a talent, and I'm thankful for that. And, one of the things that I do now is my wife and I, we every Monday and Tuesday we go to our church and we feed about 700 kids in our county that would not have food if it wouldn't be for our church. What we do is we get a whole bunch of food out, and we have other people come and pack in bags, and we have other people that deliver to the schools. That to me is rewarding, because you're helping people that, especially in these, the times that we're living in right now. And that's really rewarding, and love doing that. So we're going to keep doing it again, and since the good Lord's ready for me to go home.
Well, hopefully that's no time soon.
Yeah, you just never know. You better be ready, though.
Well, it's good that you're not driving the modified anymore, so it probably helps.
Yes.
Tommy Sanders, it's been a pleasure.
All right, buddy. Thank you, and y'all have a great day.
All right, man. You too.
Thanks, Tommy.
Bye.
Bye. There you go, Tommy
Scott,
Sanders.
I'd like to have him back on again maybe next winter, and we can swap some war stories.
I know you could. We'll have a special edition, a long form show. We do have some things to get to. We still have the Mazda Pizza giveaway to get to for how many?
Scott, we've had a lot of people putting in hashtag DCR. We need to give them a couple of minutes because we're not doing the hashtag DCR this week. We need to put in hashtag Toledo Speedway, and
just like Jamie has.
Yep,
in the comments
no space between Toledo and Speedway.
And that could be in the comments of the Facebook Live or the YouTube Live.
And we're giving away tickets to tomorrow night's
CRA show.
Big extravaganza at Toledo Speedway.
Yeah. So, Brandon Hamby sent me an email earlier in the week. He's like, hey, can you give us a plug? I'm like, hey, got some tickets you want to give away? We'll give you all kinds of plugs. So there you go. Let's do our racing roundup here. Round up our action from last weekend.
Racing Roundup.
Before we get too far here, Eldora Speedway last week, a big weekend for sprint car racing, as a matter of fact. And we were talking about David Gravel. He picked up the win in the Kubota High Limit Jokers Jackpot on Thursday night, a week ago. And then he picked up the big one, the Kings Royal. What was it, $175,000 win, I think? Yeah.
I forget what they said the 50-50 was. It was ginormous.
I missed that. It always is.
I think it was nearly $50,000.
Wow. Rico Abreu picked up the World of Outlaw night before on Friday night there at Eldora. Lima Land Speedway last Friday night. Jack Nichols picked up the win in the Great Lakes Super Sprints. Almost said Super Stocks. Great Lakes Super Sprints run for the Rabbit. Todd Sherman, he got 2 wins last week in the mods and the Thunder Stocks there. It's not sharing the wealth.
Our good friend Craig Dipman led the first 5 laps of that.
That's right.
Until he ventilated his engine.
Yeah. And you know what? I talked to him about that. He said that he was more upset that he didn't get to finish the race because the track was in such good condition.
That's it.
He didn't care that he blew the motor as much, but anyway, I'm sure he's caring now. Oakshade Raceway Saturday night. Dan Wallace picking up the win. I think it was his first win since 2018.
Yeah, green to checker.
Yeah. Colin Schilt.
And he looked great. He looked really good doing it, Scott.
Colin Schilt picked up the win in the Sportsman. Jake Rendell in the Sportsman A. Roscoe Stetton picking up the Super Stock. Dominator Super Stock A. Roscoe Stetton picking up the Dominator Super Stock B. Jeff Wells in the Compact A. Austin Gray winning the Compact B. Jeff Folks Jr. picked up the win in the Makeup Dominator Superstock A. And Dylan Burt, our guest last week, got the win in the Dominator Superstock B main Makeup race.
It worked out.
It did. The streak is back. I got to stop using my acronyms in here. It's messing me up. SS Sportsman, I don't know. Flat Rock Speedway, Saturday night. Jim Froling picking up the win in the Outlaw Super Late Models. Rob Aranda getting the win in the Street Stocks. And Kyle Metapetigan getting the win in the Factory Stock 500 class. Butler Motor Speedway on Saturday. Jet Man winning in the 410s. Robbie Henderson picking up the win in the mods. Eric Swan in the Street Stocks. Ryan Crocker in the 4-cylinders. Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series action last Thursday. The Huset's Silver Dollar Nationals, Bobby Pierce, he picked up the win Thursday and Friday. Saturday night, the main event there was won by Devin Moran. Kubota High Limit Series, Tuesday night, Rico Abreu picking up the win over at Lernerville for the Don Martin Memorial. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series action. James McFadden picking up the win last night at Baps Motor Speedway. Arca Menard Series this past weekend, Circle City 200 at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park was won by Connor Zilch. Truck Series also Friday night there was the T-Sport 200. That was won by Ty Majeski. Xfinity Series on the big track there at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Pennzoil 250. Riley Herbst picking up the win there, and an interesting finish in the Cup Series race Sunday in the Brickyard 400. It was Kyle Larson picking up the win.
Did you get to watch that at all?
I was very unhappy, as a matter of fact, because I DVR'd the race on Channel 24.
Right.
So I was like an hour behind.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm we're switching over because of the breaking news to the rest of the race will be on USA. So they get to overtime, and by the time that, I was an hour behind, so it was well over by the time I switched.
You got to watch virtually nothing.
Yes, and there was no news on Channel 24. They went to, like, paid program. I was like, this is ridiculous. I hate NBC. I'm not watching any more races on NBC because they switch it all the time. Screw NBC.
Scott,
not that I'm angry or anything, but
was
NBC pissed me
It
off.
was really fun to watch Larson.
I saw the first restart, though.
Oh, man. He started.
Where Keselowski ran out of gas.
Yep, he had to pass. He started, I think, 20th, 21st. He had.
I did see that, where he picked his way toward the front.
He had to pass a car every lap and a half, and he did.
And he was just getting it, throwing it in there. And it worked.
I wonder if him running the 500 gave him an advantage. Obviously, the cars
runs everything.
The cars are totally different, but
I don't know.
Maybe some track time played into that a little.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a theory that has absolutely no proof as of yet.
I'm sticking.
Other than he won.
I'm sticking with it.
That's fine. Toronto race for the NTT IndyCar Series on Sunday was won by Colton Herta, and that was the NTT IndyCar Honda Indy Toronto, which ended in another last lap melee crash where a car ended up upside down. I don't know. These IndyCar races are getting a little crazy at the end. Other notes, Dirt Car UMP Summer Nationals finally finished everything up last Thursday night at Sycamore Speedway with that makeup race. Jason Fager winning that. XR Super Series on Monday, Tyler Erb getting the win there, the Summer Nationals champion at Davenport Speedway. And last night, the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America. Did you watch that?
I didn't.
From Fairbury Speedway. Ricky Thornton Jr. made the pass, was the last lap or right before the last lap on Shannon Babb. It was a pretty exciting race.
Yeah, last night was movie night at the park, put on by the Whiteford Fall Festival.
Why don't they get a Flow subscription, project the race on the screen?
There we go.
There you go.
And you'd show up for that.
I would.
Yeah.
As long as
I didn't leave the park until like 11:45.
Yeah, it was over by then.
Well over, yeah.
Hammer Down Racing Army results. Not much came in. The only person that submitted anything was John Young. He finished 13th and 12th with DNSs. Did not start in the B mains Saturday.
But we fixed that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Some carburetor issues there for him. I got a 12th and a 5th in the A mains. I found out I had a broken shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations on finding it.
Yeah.
We expect better this week.
Yeah. Didn't go down all the way. Yeah. We'll see.
And that's a repeat problem.
Is it?
I think so.
Well, this was a right front shock that has had, it had a lot.
It's had a good life.
It's gone over a lot of character in its 2 or 3 years. So
okay. We won't go there.
Good. I'm glad. Got to mention Dittman Motorsports, the official Hoosier Tire Racing dealer for Northwest Ohio. He's got any kind of race car service you may need, from body work, parts. You can also get Dominator race products from him as well. You can call Craig at 419-283-8580. Located over there in Oregon, for our drivers east of Toledo.
Right.
Engaged couples, it's Christmas in July at Magic Moment Entertainment. Contact Magic Moment to see the surprise they have when it comes to your reception price. It's such a surprise, I don't even know what it is. But if you mention the Hammer Down Racing Report, you'll find out what the
surprise is.
Surprise is, yeah. It was $100 off before. I don't know if it could be more, it could be less. Definitely
but give him a call.
Give him a call, find out. Ron works with contracts, carries liability insurance. He never charges for mileage or dance floor lighting. He's been in business for over 30 years. Takes pride in working closely with couples to make your special day perfect. Covering the entire states of Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and Kentucky. Wedding receptions are Magic Moments specially, but they also do corporate events and mitzvahs, etc. Call 419. You know what? I forgot to do the... I was going to say, it's scrolling at the bottom of your screen. There it is. 419-594-2261, or you can find them on Facebook at Magic Moment Entertainment, or you can find Ron at Ohio Sports Blitz. And finally, contact Freeze Frame Photos for all your racing photo needs, from action shots to victory lane. Custom print magnets, canned koozies, tumblers, and other gift items. Here's the, what would this be? Coaster?
Yeah, that
Custom coaster, yeah.
fits neatly in the cup holder of your car.
Yeah, and it also works right here on the table, too, either way. Give Charlie a call, 419-407-6994. He's also doing the Kids Nights free 4x6 photo giveaways. Sponsorship for that, it's just $50. First 50 kids in the gate then get a free 4x6 photo, and you get your name mentioned on the PA. Freeze Frame Photos, Special Moments, Frozen Time. I think Scott Warner sponsored that recently. John Young does a lot of sponsorship of that, too. So, Carl Charlie about that, too. So, and I think... what kind of photos get taken right about now for high school students? Is it graduation photos? No, that's later. It's senior photos. That's what it is.
Yep.
Senior photos. So he could probably do those too. He could probably even do racing themed senior photo, but it doesn't have to be. So Charlie does. He's versatile. Coming up, we'll be giving away those tickets to Toledo Speedway, hashtag Toledo Speedway, to get in on that drawing. Got the information on the Showdown Series coming up, and
again, no hashtag DCR this week.
Correct.
So if you did hashtag DCR, real quick,
unhashtag it. That doesn't matter. I mean, you don't have to.
The computer will ignore it. Hashtag Toledo Speedway, folks.
Yeah. Got a little bit of racing news.
Latest racing news.
If I can find the beginning of it. I guess that is the beginning of my racing news right here. So Corey McCoy announced on Wednesday that his Showdown Series for this year has been canceled.
That's sad.
It is sad. It was a fun thing. It was.
It really was.
Look forward to doing that every year, but it's been canceled for personal reasons. He's got his reasons, and that's cool. We respect that. We appreciate everything he has done over the past couple of years for that series. That being the Showdown Series, the trucks versus the Fremont trucks versus the Dominator Super Stocks at Oakshade, plus asphalt cars sprinkled in there here and there. And, so with that being said, there are still, because of the Showdown Series, tracks have decided to put on these, kind of hold their own
because it's
unsanctioned
a good
events.
format.
Yeah. With the trucks versus the stocks. And they had one at Fremont earlier in the year, which kind of conflicted with the stock race at Oakshade, but there's stuff coming up later this year, namely at Fremont. I think it's October 6th, 7th. I don't remember the exact date. I'd have to look. But it's toward the beginning of October there with the late models, too. I believe they're still having that show. It's a Friday night show.
It's a dirt car late model show.
Yeah. So that's still happening. It's not going to be an officially sanctioned Showdown Series. So basically there's no point fund for the Showdown Series this year, and probably purses will not be as sweet, yes, that's a good word, as they have been in the past. So Fremont's having that. Millstream, I actually got a message from the Cogleys about their event, which is also in October. It's on a Sunday. It's part of a Great Lakes Super Sprint show.
Right.
And I can't remember the exact date of that. It's like the first or second weekend in October as well. We'll be talking more about this as we get closer. They're still having that, the trucks versus the stocks, so that event is still happening. Still using the Showdown rules that Corey had come up with for that. So, and some of the personnel at the Hammer Down Racing Report are working on something else, and that's all I can say at this point. We're working.
Yeah.
To try and get
we're encouraging the personnel to come up with something.
And also we're yes, I'm not going to say
we're working closely with them.
Yes, we'll say that. And of course Sandusky has the dirt trucks versus stocks versus the asphalt
Right.
stocks.
Now, is that still a go?
As far as I know.
With Chris Mize being a little under the weather?
It's still on their schedule.
Okay.
And hopefully he'll be better by then. But, yeah, that's, I think.
Maybe Sandusky Speedway will reach out to us.
Yeah, then they've been, their schedule's been very fluid recently.
Yeah,
the
buddy.
Must-see series has been rescheduled how many times now? That was supposed to be the end of April, then it was in May, then it was supposed to be last night, but Tuesday morning, I think they decided to change it to tomorrow night. We'll talk about that in our Mazda's Pizza racing menu. Yeah, it's still on
It's
Sandusky
still there.
Speedway for October 19th.
Nightmare
Clash in Dusky. CRS Trucks, Midwest Dirt Compact Series, Fremont Dirt Trucks versus Oakshade Superstocks versus Asphalt Street Stocks. So there's 3 events that are still on calendars
At
based
least.
off the showdown rules
Right.
or, somewhat. So just because the official showdown series isn't going to be there, probably a lot of the money that goes along with that won't be there as well. But the events will still be there. The purses, like you said, just won't be.
If somebody
as
would
sweet.
like to step up and be involved, we would certainly be a mediary for that.
Absolutely. Yes. For multiple reasons,
Yeah,
which hopefully maybe we can talk about next week. But
because I'm going to kick Scott's butt.
well, that's kind of what I want to. You're just mad because I beat you in the when you had your late model.
Yeah, well,
With
there
my
were
super
extenuating circumstances.
What did I have? Like a lap lead or a half lap lead or something?
Yeah,
Anyways.
motor was
So the Showdown Series officially not happening, but there will be those stock versus truck events still coming up this year. 2 weeks after drag racer John Force left VCU Medical Center and entered a neurological rehab center, he has been discharged from Barrow Neurological Institute on Tuesday. Force will continue to work with therapists specializing in traumatic brain injury on an outpatient basis in California. So,
I've read conflicting reports that he's going to hang up the helmet. And
I haven't seen anything official on that, but
I haven't
I'm
either.
sure it's
Scott.
coming. But
I
yeah.
haven't either. And he said that but I did see a report that he's going to be working hard with his temporary replacement driver. So we'll see where that goes.
Haley Deegan? No. Danny Dietrich will make his dirt late model debut July 28th. What is that? That's today's the 25th, so
That'd be this
26th,
weekend.
27th. Sunday? Is it Sunday? At Hagerstown Speedway. It's part of the Half Miles Frank Saggy tribute live on Flow Racing. He'll be driving a rocket chassis owned by Pennsylvania car owner Larry Baer, with fellow Pennsylvania dirt late model racer Colby Fry helping him get up to speed. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Corey Day has signed a deal to run 3 ARCA races, piloting the Pinnacle Racing Group stock car this season, starting with this weekend's event at Salem Speedway. Capital Quarter Midget Association, they reached out to me this past week. Remember we talked to them? It was about a year ago or something, up there in Lansing, Michigan. They're going to be celebrating their 65th anniversary with a racing event coming up on Saturday, August 17th up there. That will include a lot of driver giveaways, a lot of kid activities. It starts at 10 a.m., and it takes place at their track, which is located behind Reno's North Sports Bar in Lansing, Michigan, right off of US 27. And if you want more information, check out capitalquartermidgets.com for more information. So there you go. Before we get to our how many, I just realized I forgot to check the Hammer Down hotline this week.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Before we get to this week's how many, let's couple of commercials to do. Ron Miller Race Cars. Tell us about Ron Miller Race Cars.
Really great people there. They've been.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've been really busy lately, Scott, and it's kind of with non-traditional stuff. We've had some pro street cars and bending up roll cages for some drag cars, as well as selling lots and lots of parts for the oval track guys. So yeah, the shop has been busy, and we appreciate the business.
All right. Thank you for filling in some time there. Yeah, no new Hammer Down hotline calls.
Really?
Just some messages there that are from Bob, one of our contributors. Also got to mention DCR Graphics, your vinyl racing graphics provider. They do full wraps, partial wraps, number decals, sponsor decals of just about any kind. And they are, of course, your official source for the Hammer Down Racing Report window stickers, which supposedly we'll be getting a new supply of. He has a ton of them, he said. So we'll be giving those away again once we replenish our supply. But if you'd like to get your hands on one of those, become a part of the Hammer Down Army, you can get a hold of Dale at 419-308-9523. And $5. He'll mail it to you, bring it to the track, whatever. And all you got to do is stick that on your car, shoot us a picture somehow, and you'll be added to the Hammer Down Army.
Yeah.
And if you are in the Hammer Down Army, please submit your results. HammerdownRacingReport.com/HammerDownArmy.
Because if you don't do it, we can't talk about it.
No, and there's we have quite a big list. Oh, boy. So no Hammer Down hotline playback this week. If there's something you want us to talk about, something you want to get off your chest, feel free to reach out to us at that number right there behind our
419-318-3091.
Thank you.
81. Sorry about that.
Yeah, 81. It looked like a 9, but it's an 8. 318-3081, 419 area code. Call it anytime, day or night. Leave a message. Text it. You can text it, too. So, works nicely that way. Now I can't get it off the screen. There we go. So let's give away some pizza. Yeah. We had that pizza last week, Mazza's Pizza. We had our first winner last week, and our first taste of it. It was spectacular, and they have a lot more than just pizza, but we're giving away pizza. You can get more when you go pick up your free pizza. So let's do it.
How many?
Last week's How Many was what starting position number will the winner of Saturday's Kings Royal start from?
Number 1.
Number 1. Not many people picked number 1. Only one person picked 1.
Really?
And it was none of us in the studio. You picked 3. I picked 2, so I was closest. And
so you won.
Dylan picked, I think, 5 when he was here last week. So, yeah, so I get to go first on that. And our listener winner, only 1.
For a free
pizza. Large one-topping Mazza's Pizza and an order of cheese bread. You have 30 days to claim your pizza. And thanks Terry Goat again for bringing that, and of course Mazza Pizza sponsor on Bradley Goad and his car there. Yeah, Bradley's a manager there too, so
yeah,
a lot of racing involvement. So I'm stalling. Last week's winner was Dusty Pilgrim, who picked 1.
Really?
Yeah, so congratulations, Dusty Pilgrim. You will get a free pizza. Well, your name will be there at the shop, so call in and you can redeem or stop in, whatever. Mazza's Pizza, located right there in Point Place. You have 30 days to claim your large one-item pizza and cheese bread. Just don't do it until like a half hour after the show, because I still got to shoot your name over to him. He doesn't know yet.
Bring your appetite, because the food is spectacular.
Oh my gosh, and very filling, too. So this week's How Many? A chance to win a Mazza's Pizza. Next week is going to be how many Great Lakes Super Sprints will be at Waynesfield on Saturday night. Waynesfield Raceway Park back in action this Saturday.
I can help you out a little bit. The weather is going to be spectacular.
I'm happy about that. So if you want a chance to win a pizza next week from Mazza's, put your guess as to how many Great Lakes Super Sprints will be at Waynesfield Saturday night in the comments of our Facebook Live or the YouTube Live. And whoever's closest will get that Mazza's Pizza.
You're stalling, Scott.
I am. And we'll spin the Mazza's Pizza wheel. If there's a tie, see Doug Frost and Laura Jackson Triggs there both guessed 31. So if it's 31, we'll have to put their names on the pizza wheel and spin it, find out who wins. Can't change your guess. Once you put it in, you're locked in. If you do, you'll get black flagged.
Disqualified.
Yes. And
you'll have a DNF.
If you're listening to us on the podcast, you can still get in on this. Just go to the YouTube or our Facebook Live video and put your comment in, as long as it's before Saturday at, what time do gates open there? Their gates open at 5. So we'll say 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's fair.
You have until 4 p.m. on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern to get in. 42, the answer to life. I think that might be a little high. I haven't really been looking to see their numbers at Lima. I probably should have. I probably should have done some homework. I'm wondering how many of these people that just put in their guesses right away, if they do any homework, they're just like, man, I'm just going to throw a number out there. I'm going to go with 26. 26.
Ooh.
26.
I'm going to leave a gap. I'm going to go with 28 because I want to nail it.
What happens if it's 27?
Shame on us.
We'll have to flip a coin.
That's it.
We'll have to flip the Mazda's Pizza coin next week for us.
Oh, and Terry Goad picked 27.
27. Of course he did. All right. Yeah, we'll find out who the winner is next week on the show. Or you could follow Waynesfield, find out Saturday night how many are there. And you'll know who the winner is going to be ahead of time. Let's check out our Mazda's Pizza racing menu and all the action we have going on this weekend, which not a lot of national stuff happening.
This weekend's racing menu.
So Thursday night tonight, as a matter of fact, Sandusky Speedway kicking off the High Miler. I put Miller. The High.
Your fingers stuttered.
Yes, the High Miler Nationals there at Sandusky Speedway. Tonight's Dollar Night racing got going about 40 minutes ago with the Pure Stocks All-American Iron, Renegades, and Beginner Stocks. Then things continue tomorrow night with the High Miler Nationals.
They warm up a little.
Yeah, the ISMA Super Modifieds Fast 40 will be in action. And then what they did was they moved what was scheduled last night, most of what was scheduled last night, to Friday night. So now the Must-See Racing 410 Sprints and Must-See Racing Midwest Lights will be joining the Super Modifieds on Friday night, with the gates opening at 4, racing at 7:30. General admission's $28 there Friday night at Sandusky. And that will continue into Saturday, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Also, Friday night, Toledo Speedway. It's the HB Concerts Promenade Pavilion 100 with the CRA Jegs Late Models Vors Compact Touring Series and factory stocks. And, of course, your chance to win tickets here. We're going to draw for those momentarily. Hashtag Toledo Speedway. If you have not put that in the comments of our Facebook Live or YouTube Live, you got a few more minutes to do so and get in on that drawing. That's Scott, grandstand tickets for tomorrow night.
And I heard that the car count, the pre-registration.
Yeah, I saw that list. Looked pretty impressive.
Over 25 entries.
It looks like it's going to be a good show tomorrow night there. So, also, Limaland Motorsports Park in action. Oh wait, I didn't finish up the Toledo thing. I got excited about the ticket giveaway there. Yep. Gates open at 2 tomorrow for Toledo Speedway. Racing will start at 7 p.m. I think general admission tickets are $26. For some reason, I have $126, and I'm pretty sure that's not right.
That's probably a lot. It's going to be a good show.
I think it's $26. Yeah. For tomorrow night's show at Toledo Speedway. Limaland, it's the 27th annual championship night. That's right, their season's already wrapping up.
That's crazy.
2 more weeks, this weekend and next. UMP Modified Thunder Stocks Dirt Track Truck Series in action at Limaland. Gates open at 4:30, racing at 7:30. General admission $12 there. Attica Raceway Park back in action on Friday night with the Ohio Truck Sales Adkins Group Night, featuring the AFCS 410 Sprints, Attica Oakshade Late Model Series, and the AFCS 305 Sprints. Gates open at 5, racing at 7:45. General admission $20 there at Attica. Saturday night, Lorraine Raceway Park. They are racing this weekend. I forgot to take them off last week. They weren't. I mentioned them, but they weren't racing. But this weekend, Lorraine Raceway Park, it's the Amherst Appreciation Night with Street Stocks, Chargers, Pure Stocks, and Ace Racing League. Gates open at 2:30, racing at 6. General admission $12 there. Sandusky Speedway, also the third night there of the High Miler Nationals, with the High Miler Nationals 100 for the ISMA Super Modifieds and Outlaw Super Series. Gates open at 2, racing at 7, general admission $30 there at Sandusky Speedway. Fremont Speedway, S&S Excavators Ladies Night. I'm not sure what that means. Do ladies get in free?
I don't know.
The AFCS 410 Sprints will be in action, as well as the AFCS 305 Sprints and the Dirt Trucks. Gates open at 4,
Scott,
racing at 7.
If I remember right, and don't yell if I'm wrong, but I think ladies get $5 off their entry.
Is that what it was?
Whether it's either
sounds familiar,
pit or grandstands.
Double check.
Double check, yeah.
Yeah, before you head out there if you're a lady. If you're a guy, too bad. You're going to
Yep,
pay with normal
you
amount.
lose.
Yeah. $20 general admission for guys, at least, at Fremont Speedway. Flat Rock Speedway, it's the Stan Yee 150. Outlaw Super Late Models. I guess a lot of the guys from Friday are going to be up at Flat Rock on Saturday for the Stan Yee 150. Outlaw Super Late Models, figure eights, and street stocks. Gates open at 4:30. Racing at 7 p.m. General admission tickets up there is going to be $26. Angola Speedway, mid-season championship night. Lima Land's having their season championship night. Angola's having their mid-season championship night. It's
pretty
Of course,
crazy.
Angola did start a little. I think their opening weekend was like Memorial Day
3
weekend.
weeks ago.
Yeah. They're going to have late models there at Angola, street stocks, front-wheel drives. Gates open at 4:30, racing at 7, $18 general admission at Angola. Oakshade Raceway, Oakshade Attica Late Model Series, DCR Graphic Sportsman, Dominator, Super Stocks, and Compacts. Gates open at 4, racing at 7:30, general admission $15. All the makeup's finally caught up at Oakshade, so everything's up to date now, finally.
Well, that's
And it sounds like our weekend weather pit stop forecast is going to be favorable for that trend continuing.
For everybody in our area.
Butler Motor Speedway, a mid-season championship night up there as well with the 410 Sprints, UMP modified street stocks and 4 cylinders. Gates open at 4, racing at 7:30, $15 general admission also at Butler. And Waynesfield Raceway Park, it's remembering our fallen 360 Sprint heroes with the Great Lakes Super Sprints, UMP modified dirt track truck series. And compacts also in action. Gates open at 5, racing at 7:30. General admission $18 there at Waynesfield Raceway Park. And of course, that is our how many for this week. How many GLSS at Waynesfield on Saturday? And that's what's happening locally. How's that weekend weather pit stop look?
Scott, no rain. I promise that one. High temperatures both Friday and Saturday are going to be upper 70s. Saturday might touch 80, but the humidity is going to be down. It's going to be a very nice weekend. No reason at all not to go watch some racing.
I'm happy with that. Other series action, and like I said, there's not a lot going on. NASCAR's got the weekend, actually, I think like the next 2 weekends maybe off for them. But World of Outlaws, Case Construction Equipment late models, running the Prairie Dirt Classic at Fairbury Speedway tomorrow and Saturday night. Then it's Wilmot Raceway in Wilmot, Wisconsin on Monday for those guys. The USA Nationals at Cedar Lake Speedway in New Richmond, Wisconsin on Thursday of next week, Thursday through Saturday next weekend for the World of Outlaws. ARCA Menard Series, they are in action. They have the Salem ARCA 200 at Salem Speedway. That's where Corey Day is going to be making his ARCA debut there. That's going to be Saturday, 8 p.m. on Fox Sports 1 or FS1. Ooh. World of Outlaws NASA Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. They have the C&D Rigging Summer Nationals at Williams Grove on Friday and Saturday, and then it's the Empire State Challenge at Weedsport Speedway in New York on Sunday, July 28th. And that is your Mazda's Pizza racing menu.
Our friend Doug Frost says that I was right. It's $5 off for ladies at Fremont.
Thanks, Doug.
This Saturday.
How about we draw for those Toledo Speedway tickets right now? So, again, if you haven't done so, right there on the screen, hashtag Toledo Speedway, all one word, with the little pound symbol in front of it for our
the computer
older viewers that aren't hip to the hashtag lingo that's been around for, 20 years now?
Yeah.
Push. If you've already put in your hashtag Toledo Speedway, you are entered to win. Looks like we got about 17, so you have a 1 in 17 chance to win a pair of tickets. That's a pair, not just one. That's a pair of tickets. That's like $52, $26
That's
ticket.
a good deal.
Yeah, that's significant. So I'm just stalling to see if we get any last-minute entries here before
anybody making that hashtag DCR correction.
There you go. Yeah, hashtag DCR is not doing anything tonight. That'll probably be back next week, but tonight it's hashtag Toledo Speedway. So let's, I got 2 of these. I don't know which is the right one. That's the right one. Okay. So here we go. This is for tomorrow night. Dusty Pilgrim asks for what date. Tomorrow night, Toledo Speedway, the CRA, JEGS late models, the VORS Compact Touring Series action at Toledo Speedway. Also, Factory Stock 500 Series will be in action there. So let's take this off of here, and we're going to hit draw on our winner for a pair of tickets to Toledo Speedway. Again, racing starts at 7. Gates open at 2 p.m. tomorrow night at Toledo Speedway. Hovis Racing is going to be the winner. I'm going to need a first name from Hovis Racing, and very soon to send over to the
Toledo
box office.
Speedway.
Yeah, so I know of a Peyton Hovis
Yeah.
who races, but I need to know whose name to put that into. So Hovis Racing, if you could shoot me a message immediately following the show, that would be greatly appreciated.
Preferably mom or dad, because they're
Should I?
children may.
If I don't hear from them, should I draw for a secondary?
Yeah.
Just in case. Just in case. This is so we got Hovis Racing. Isn't he going to be there anyways?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. So if we don't hear from Hovis Racing, Tom O'Leary is going to get it, and I will contact. I will let him know if he has it or not.
Okay.
After the show. So if I can't get a hold of Hovis Racing here, probably within 30 minutes. So there you go. Congratulations, Hovis Racing, and maybe Tom O'Leary. We shall see. That is going to do it for this edition of the Hammer Down Racing Report.
We got to do Tommy Sanders again.
He's an interesting fellow, isn't he? He had a lot of
Really
stories.
was, yeah. We can swap some.
Maybe we should do
stories.
like a just focus on a decade for each episode we have him on.
That'd be cool. If I did the math right, I think he's like 3 years younger than me. So
Something like that.
yeah.
Thanks to associate producer Dave Kammer, contributors John Young, Dean Henry, Bob Stazak. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or X, whatever it is, at Hammer Report. Follow us on YouTube. Listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Again, check out HammerDownRacingReport.com. If you're part of the Hammer Down Army, definitely go to that website, click on Hammer Down Army, scroll to the bottom of the page, click on the link, fill out the form each week so that I can report your results and share them with our audience, because everybody wants to know where you finished.
Yeah.
Also, make sure to rate and review us if you can. Share us with your friends. It's all appreciated. Thanks to our sponsors. And make sure to support them, because they make the show happen. DCR Graphics, Dominator Race Products, Oakshade Raceway, Romulo Race Cars, Freeze Frame Photos, Dittman Motorsports, Magic Moment Entertainment, and, of course, Victory Fuel. We're getting low on Victory Fuel. We're going to have to get a
Refill.
replenishment. And I know DCR is
fun show, Scott. You know, I was kind of concerned. Sprint car mechanic. Man, I wonder if we're going to be able to fill our hour. We could have done two. No
National
problem.
Sprint Car Hall of Fame mechanic
Absolutely.
and car builder Tommy Sanders. Thanks to him for coming on. It was great talking to him. We'll be back next week, 7 o'clock. Haven't decided who we'll have. I know I've been talking with Dean about a possible guest, a return guest, but
there are a lot of people.
There's lots of stuff. So thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week
For show number 341.
That's it.
Oh, my.
And hopefully we'll have some breaking news about something.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right, let's go.
All right.
It's late. Are you hungry?
I am. It's dinner time, man.
We'll
No
see.
pizza today.
We'll see you next week.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report, available on demand on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform.